TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. Come on, baby, higher.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it is that time of the week for a good friend and colleague, Mr. Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks. Go follow him on X, and of course at Wager Talk, talking some NHL headliner McDavid and Oilers in BEANTOWN tonight versus the Bruins. One system play tonight in the NHL, Mr. McInnis, wink, wink. And of course, his Habs are on fire. You better get in now, start getting your playoff tickets and your tickets to maybe make the playoffs. I enjoy watching his timeline. It feels like Andrew is like behind the bench right there on every play, every hit, every bad call. So hats off to Andrew and the Habs as they are on fire. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download that app. It is free. Viva Tequila Seltzer. The East Coast is cuckoo for coconut. Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Terry Smith. Follow him on Facebook. Head on over to East Coast Sports Investors, of course. AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Place an order today. Use promo code STEAKS10. Take a look at his 4 monthly subscriptions. Check one of the boxes. Start eating right. Never have to leave the house. Delivered every month. Great way to start 2025. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, like you said, I'm excited. As a fan, I'm excited. As a sports bettor, it was a 2-1 night, so we'll take it. We'll move on to a bigger slate today. But as you mentioned, I feel like when people are following my timeline, it's viewer discretion is advised for all the bias that I'm going to spew out. And, you know, my message to all my followers is let me be a fan, and I'm letting you know I am a fan. I make it very clear. If I'm complaining about a bad call, if I'm saying something isn't good, it's probably my fan hat is being on. And speaking of hats, I like your hat today, Jeff.
Thank you. My daughter did some spring cleaning, and she asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I said, hey, I think I'm going to go old school and back in the North End style, almost like I felt like Bill Krakenberger is always wearing them. And this is like the Boston look. And she comes downstairs yesterday with 5 of them. So I might go this way for wear a different one every day now, Monday through Friday. So as you said, 2-1 ECSI VIPs 2-1. We hit Mississippi Valley State in the NCAA team totals. System play in the NHL over 1.5. Habs score early. Vancouver says, hold my beer. That was nice to get that over early. And
only a few shots too. There was like 5 shots the whole period, and we hit them with. That's the best because it's the worst when it's the other way around, right?
Oh, it is. And how many times? And both teams have been our kryptonite. And how many times have I sent you? Who's in net? Roy, Ken Dryden, or sometimes the Habs have played these styles where after one, each team has 3 shots on net. And so to get that over was great. And then the difference between 3-0 and 2-1, as you said, if you could go 2-1 every night, we'd never leave the Bellagio. I get that part. But the difference between 3-0, waking up in the morning like, oh, what a way to start the week, and 2-1, and I'm grateful. For us, we had the Caps team total over 3.5 plus 105, 3-3 overtime. No one scores. You get to a shootout and you take the 1-0 lead, and Tuck has just killed me every time. He ties it. Washington misses. Sabres win. That one stings, Andrew.
Those do sting, and especially when it's the Buffalo Sabres, because you don't know what the hell you're going to get from that team. You don't know when they're going to show up. And the funny thing is about the Sabres is they actually have talent, and thank goodness for them having a good start to their season, because they had that massive, massive losing streak they had. But with how wild west the Eastern Conference is right now, I think they're only 6 or 7 points out of a wild card spot themselves. So as much as I'm waking up today feeling good and all excited about the Canadians being in that wild card spot, Jeff, this is about as competitive as the Eastern Conference has been in years. And it's really good to see. And that Buffalo Sabres team is such a hard team to get a read on. You really don't know. And the problem is that for the most part, you want to go against them. And then when you do, all of a sudden you're like, oh, this team decides to show up. So it's very hard and frustrating. The Habs will play against the Capitals on Friday, so I'll be watching that game if I'm available. And, you know, it's funny, Jeff, I've been looking at a lot of – this year I talked a lot on the show about home versus road. Like this year it seems to matter to me a lot more. Mr. Lucky was talking to us about some different trends as well on X. But road, home. But the funny thing is I would much prefer to be the team that's the most settled. Like – for Montreal, when they play Washington, they're going to go to Washington after they have a bunch of rest, right? They play on Monday night. Their next game is Friday. So even though they're on the road, they're going to be rested. But then they come back home on Saturday to play again against Dallas. So even though they have a home game, so I almost feel like they have more of an advantage on the road than they do at home. So it's really interesting to see some of these teams, how they play at home, how they play on the road. But also, you know, how's your schedule helping you out? Because right now, some of these teams are going through travel hell right now.
Yeah, and Mr. Lucky brought it up. I said we talk about it today, the rest versus rust almost. He was talking about, he says, is it his eyes or are we seeing the rested teams playing a lot better than the back-to-back? We talked about back-to-backs early in the season. I was like, the professional athletes, I don't worry about that. Now we're at the halfway point. You know, we turned the calendar to 2025. Are your eyes now more focused on the rest and the back-to-backs, or is it just business as usual?
Well, I think that it's certain teams you want to look at. Like, I think that, for example, if a team is rolling, you almost don't want to get rid of their rhythm. You don't want to step in front of that rhythm. If you're playing some really good hockey, you almost don't want that 4 or 5 day break. But if a team is struggling and they get 4 or 5 days and they're playing a step up in class, then I think it could be a really good bet on situation. And like I said, for some reason, it's almost like the NHL schedule makers, Jeff, said, okay, you guys can have your holidays. Because if you notice, during the holiday season, they did a lot of home and homes. They played a lot of rivals. They didn't have to go too far from home, some of these teams that were traveling in the NHL. Now the holiday season's over. They said, we're going to take you on a 9-game road trip here and a 12-game road trip over here, and this team's going to go over here. So I think it is really important to figure out which teams are in these certain situational spots, how much rest they've been able to have recently, and also some motivation. Like, I know this sounds funny, but some teams right now, you're already starting to see, Jeff, which games they're getting up for. So you know how we always toss out these like cliche handicapping terms? Like there's like the letdown, the look ahead, the sandwich spot. There's all this stuff people talk about. I feel like those spots don't matter, to your point, in October, in November, in even December. But now here we are in January, and I know I'm talking about the Canadians a lot, but think about this. They have 8 of their last 10 games they've won, and one of the games they lost was against the Chicago Blackhawks. Does that make sense to anybody? But it kind of makes my point a little bit about getting up for certain games more than others.
I always use this phrase, putting lipstick on a pig. It's one of these, you only can dress it up so much. It is what it is. Your record is who you are. And I'm gonna skip across to football. In other words, Bill Belichick's final year with the Patriots, he goes 4-13. In comes Gerard Mayo. Well, voila. Guess what? Gerard Mayo went 4-13. You're only as good as your roster. So these GMs that are in place. Now I'm going to skip back over to the frozen pond and the Bruins. The Bruins have lost 4 in a row. They're sputtering again. We all know it wasn't Montgomery. It's the roster. It's how you built the roster. And you have an idea of when you build this roster, your expectations. Well, when it doesn't come to production and wins on the ice, you got to fire the coach. I
Yeah.
mean, because if I don't fire the coach, then the ownership's coming to fire me. Bruins to the lost 4 in a row tonight. They host Connor McDavid and they host the Oilers tonight. The Bruins overnight. Edmonton -130. Circus says not so fast, gentlemen. Connor McDavid and the Oilers -147 at Boston. You don't see the Bruins at +134 at home ever.
Well, a slight rest advantage, not by much. Obviously, the Bruins playing on Sunday, and the Oilers getting that 4-2 victory on Saturday against the Kraken. One thing I want to add in here is that the Edmonton Oilers, I just kind of have the schedules in front of me for both these teams. The Edmonton Oilers have had a lighter schedule as of late. And I always worry about that with certain teams, getting that false sense of satisfaction. They've taken down the Kraken, who I just described as a medium-ranked team. I don't have any bad things to say about them. I don't have any good things to say about them. They beat the Anaheim Ducks. They easily beat the Utah Hockey Club 4-1. And then they actually lost against the Ducks in the game prior to that. So their last 4 games have come against all non-playoff opponents. And then you look at the Boston Bruins. They played a really, really scrappy Islanders team that was hungry. They lose by giving up 6 goals against the Maple Leafs. They lose 3-1 against the Capitals. They only score 1 goal against the struggling Rangers. But then you look at the games again that they should beat, right? This is the thing. This team, in the games that they should beat, they take down the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-0. Right? You take a look at some of the games against the Sabres, 3-1, against some of these bad teams. They're showing up against the Blackhawks, 4-2. They beat the Red Wings. They beat the Canadians. They beat these teams. So where I'm going here with this, Jeff, is I think that the Boston Bruins have very much proven that even though, like I said, the Oilers are coming off a couple games in a row against some lighter opponents, they're struggling to step up in class. This Boston Bruins team, they look really good when they're playing medium ranked or below opponents. And I'm just noticing when they play a team, and I think honestly, the biggest problem with this team, and you've talked about it for years, is the depth. I've always been, when I first got into this business, and it wasn't, too long, talking like 6-7 years ago, even when they had the David Krejci days and the Patrice Bergeron days, and all of those guys were there. And even when Lucic, his first time around on the team, many years ago, they didn't have just one line. And then when the whole perfection line, it's not even there anymore, Jeff, because Bergeron's not there. So I feel like there's a real struggle right now to step up in class. And I mean, is it fair for us to say that Swayman certainly hasn't had the year that Bruins fans would have wanted him to have? What's your take on Swayman? Because when I look overall at these numbers right now for the Bruins, I see a whole different team when they play a playoff team versus when they play a non-playoff team.
No, I think you're spot on, and we've been talking about this since the first face-off to start the regular season. The holdout, the approach. I'm going to set the market. I'm doing it for the rest of the goalies here. It wasn't taken lightly in the locker room. Never mind, upper management finally bends. Well, he starts the year off as a sieve. He has gotten better, but the bottom line is there's a misconnection in that locker room. I'm not saying there's a team Swayman and a non-team Swayman, but
Yeah.
I think there's some people in the locker room that weren't happy with this holdout, and it started the season off the way it has. And you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. They played great against the less competition. The playoff teams, they have not played well. Again, losers of 4 in a row tonight, and facing an Edmonton team, which is, one of the favorites, obviously, to get back to the cup. And I'm just trying to see, before we turn the pond over to you, the other team in the East that is just bad is the Rangers. And tonight they host Dallas. Dallas, overnight, Dallas minus 135 at the Mecca at Madison Square Garden. The current line right now at the Circa, good morning, Mr. Benson. Good morning, Mr. Stevens. The Dallas Stars are minus 171. In New York, you can get the Rangers plus 155. As bad as the Bruins have been playing, I think you can say times 2 is this Rangers team.
Oh my goodness, it's brutal. It is brutal. And the funny thing is they go ahead and they get that win the other day, and people are going to say, oh, they found their offense. They played the Blackhawks. They played the Chicago Blackhawks. So it's a little bit different to say that they found their offense. I'm going to say something that's just obvious right now. And the fact is their defense and goaltending is just not going well. And lately with my defensive metrics and some things I've been looking at, Jeff, I've tried to make some bold undertakes. I wouldn't say yesterday's team total on Seattle was bold, but Jersey hasn't been playing the best defensively. But there's no way you could talk me into taking the under in today's game between the Rangers and the Dallas Stars. You really couldn't. And the fact is there's going to be a false sense of security after only giving up 2 goals against the Chicago Blackhawks. I understand we are seeing a 6.5. I understand we have seen the goaltending underachieving for the New York Rangers and the defense underachieving, but they still traded away Jacob Trouba. They're still struggling on the breakout to defend other teams in their own end. And they still gave up, 5 goals against the Panthers, 7 goals against the Capitals, 6 goals against the Lightning, 5 goals against the Devils. And again, what did we just talk about with the Bruins? It's a playoff team coming to visit them. It's not like they're playing a bad team. The Dallas Stars, they have been one of my favorite team total teams that I haven't been playing enough. I haven't been on them enough. And honestly, I've been talking about them a lot on shows, but I haven't been getting to the window. So it's a bit frustrating. But what are you seeing for odds for them to get to 4 tonight, Jeff? Is that the spot? Because I feel like that's the right price range here. Right in that sweet spot, because if it's heavy minus 200s, you don't really get a good number on it. But I have a feeling you have a good number for me.
Yeah, team total over 3.5 tonight. You can get it even money right now.
Perfect.
So again, why would you lay the 171? Why would you play the puck line? Why would you play regulation? Again, just get to 4. And we've been talking about this for a long time now. We've been doing shows a long time. The last couple of years, for myself, have really focused in on these team totals, the less traveled market of all. And the fact is, you're going to give me even money to get to 4. Go take a look. That should be a Ralph Michaels homework assignment. Ralph, tell me in the NHL to date, how many the win-losses, the teams that have gotten to 4 or more. So what is the percentage in the NHL if you win the game? How many of those winning teams are getting to 4 or better?
Mm-hmm. I have, and the funny thing, the important thing, I've kind of asked him a similar question. I'll actually be sure to get to that with him at some point. But I think the big thing for us, Jeff, is that it's all circumstantial in these particular prices that we look at, right? Like you and I will only bet that in a certain frame, like in a certain window, I guess. And we've talked about, like, it's so weird. Like I have no clue why, but if it gets to plus 145, it's very hard to hit it. The other day I had Columbus team total and it was plus 155 to the team, or I had the money line and they ended up putting 5 or 6 goals up, but I refused. I don't know if you remember, I took the side in that game and I was looking at it on DraftKings for like 20 minutes and I'm like, what should I do in this game? Because usually Columbus, if they win, they have to score a lot of goals anyway, but it's that time frame. So, or that price range. So, that plus 100 to plus 125, would you say that's our sweet spot? That's what it seems like. It's always the even money to plus 125.
I think the real sweet spot is when you see a team total 3.5 juice under minus 135. I think that is the sweet spot. You're getting the team total over 3.5 plus 115. That is seemed like the sweet spot. And then again, obviously 130, and now you're getting it at plus 110 there. I'm going to ask you, because I'm going to give you the board. I know you have another show coming up here. I had one more question. I out-tricked myself on Sunday, and shame on me. The system play. I tell everyone this for 10 years now. If you go to the window like this and you place your wager, well, lots of times it doesn't come in. And I know we want to go to the window with conviction. It's the one that you're supposed to play and you go like this and you're puckered up like this. Had a system play on Sunday with the Devils on the first period over. And then what do? I got cute because it was only minus 118. And I says, let's take them minus a half goal in the first period. Both teams scored a goal like this. And I'm just like, oh my God, just trust the system, Andrew.
Yeah. It's so frustrating, because I feel like, again, I don't know what it is, Jeff. I can't explain it, but we just talked about it with the team total prices, right? The ones that are working the best with this system are the ones like last night with the Canadians, minus 120, 125. It's shocking. Tampa Bay runs into San Jose with Askarov or whatever, how you pronounce his name. He has been unbelievable. I promise you, Jeff, we will be talking about that goaltender for the next 10, 15 years. Like this goalie, Nashville it's going to be a meme. Like the fact that Nashville got rid of this guy will be a joke in the hockey world. Nobody's talking about it right now because Nashville has UC Saros. Once they do not have Saros and they realize that they have a superstar that they literally gave as a Christmas gift to the San Jose Sharks, I am in shock. And for those that don't know about it, pretty much they draft this absolute stud Russian goaltender. He comes over to North America expecting to play. He doesn't want to sit in the AHL, so he tells the team, I want to play. All of a sudden, Nashville signs their starting goalie to another 6-year deal. He says, what the hell is that? I want to play soon. So they said, all right, we'll trade you. He goes to San Jose, plays 3 games in the minors, and he's now the starting goaltender for San Jose. So this is crazy. But yeah, it's so weird. The minus 145 overs are losing, but you give me a minus 120. The Habs and Canucks get 6 shots, and we go over 1.5. It's hard to explain here.
Pucks, props, and thoughts. 10 games today. Take it away, sir.
Well, I'll start with one, and we try not to step in front of anything too crazy, and you don't want to be too much of a contrarian all the time here, Jeff. But there's one that kind of does stick out to me, and as a Montreal Canadiens fan, it pains me to say it. I kind of like the Ottawa Senators here today. I do, and it's kind of like that interesting spot. You look kind of how they've been playing here a little bit. This is kind of like that bet today, where if you told somebody in a bar that I'm betting on the Sens, they would look at you and say, have you seen their record lately? Have you seen how they're playing lately? And they'd ask you why you're betting on them. But I just think that this Detroit Red Wings, kind of streak is about to come to an end here. And a big reason for that is health. I mean, the Ottawa Senators have dealt with health issues. It's kind of set them back a little bit. But when I look at some of the games that they've played, it was a really advantageous spot for the Blues, being the more rested team. They played a good Stars team. They did take care of the Wild, but they lost to a good Jets team. They lose to a good Oilers team. It's not like they're sitting here and losing to bad teams, right? And as a Canadians fan, I loved to see during that road trip how many games the Senators lost. But having said that, they still were only losing games against really good teams. Now they're playing the Red Wings that are probably at this point still riding that high of the coach's bump. But you know exactly where we're going to go here. We sprinkle on that team total. Like we said, for some reason, anything over plus 125 won't hit. So we'll take the money line and we'll take a little bit of that team total. I saw anywhere between minus 115, minus 120 money line, and plus 140 on that team total for them to get to 4 goals in that one. As I mentioned, Edmonton Oilers, Boston Bruins, a very similar thing for me here. We're taking a look at the 5.5 being the number as the total, but instead of looking at the Edmonton Oilers team total over, I think we got to go the other way around. Find that plus 100 Bruins team total under 2.5 plus 100. Like I said, this team is struggling consistently when they're taking on teams that kind of have a winning record and are really elite, and they haven't played a game in a couple days. I do like them. I do like that Stars plus 100 team total over 3.5 in that one. And taking a look at the later game, Calgary Flames, Anaheim Ducks, total at 6.5, shaded towards the under, plus money for the over, minus 135 favorites on the road for the Flames. And when I look at this team right now, I look their last game against the Predators. I was on the Predators, but I just thought it was a bad spot for the Flames. I just thought the way they've been playing lately, some of the games they've been involved in, and when I look at naturalstattrick.com and I look at expected goals against, if we scroll all the way down over the last few weeks, they're about the 5th or 6th best team in expected goals against. I've had a lot of bad things to say about the Calgary Flames this season. I haven't been nice to them, but this is a team that I think we should have our eye on because the market almost readjusted, Jeff, to who they are. They said, okay, this team really isn't that good of a team. They were getting some help from their goaltending, and now all of a sudden you're getting minus 135 against the Anaheim Ducks. If you want to play the team total, I wouldn't blame anybody. But I do think that is the right side here, and we're getting a discount because the Nashville Predators, look at their record, you think they're not very good. You and I both know they're better than their record indicates. Now, they lose to the Nashville Predators. They have a few bad games in a row, and they're only minus 135 against the Ducks. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know what made the Ducks a decent team all of a sudden, but they definitely don't deserve any team. I mean, I think most teams in the league should be a heavier favorite than minus 135 against them. And you're going to tell me right now there's a home ice advantage for them? I don't think so. There is no home ice advantage for Anaheim. I'll take Calgary on the road.
You can get their team total right now, 3.5 over plus 120. And it's funny because Nashville was coming in on a back-to-back. It was hockey night in Canada. And overnight, Nashville was favored. And then Calgary was favored by when the puck dropped. Mm-hmm. So, again, I think let's get out of Dodge. Let's get out of Alberta. And let's I think you're going to see a different Calgary team. And I like where your eyes are everywhere, actually, tonight. I know you got another show in 12 minutes. Everyone knows here to go to Twitter or X at McInnis Picks, but we always end the segment. Andrew, tell them what you have at Wager Talk.
Jeff, it's $5 Tuesday. Very simple. If anybody wants to try me out, you want to just try things out over at Wager Talk, dip your toes in the water, then go ahead and get my favorite play of the day for just $5. No additional cost, just that one play and all the analysis. If anyone's interested, I have just received a deal for a 30-day package. We're hitting close to 75% the last 30 days. I mean, yesterday was 2-1, and I'll take it, right? I mean, profit each day. Promo code PUCK50, PUCK50, PUCK50 will save $50 off a 30-day NHL pass. And, of course, my link, wt.buzz/am. For everybody watching, I hope they join you and I on Friday on my channel. And I think that, based on the schedule, we'll have a few games to look at, but we could also take a peek into Saturday's slate as well, Jeff. So looking forward to it, and always good starting my days with you. And I have to mention, as much as it pains me, Team USA back-to-back in the World Juniors. Great run for that team.
I was watching the grid last night with Cam and Gabe, and they're talking about that mini tournament coming up. USA and Canada both minus 170. So we'll be talking about that. Go enjoy your show. Thank you so much. We'll be talking throughout the week. And of course, we'll be starting Friday on your channel at McInnis Picks on your YouTube channel. Andrew, have a great, great day.
Thank you, Jeff. Take care.
Go follow Andrew at McInnis Picks. And of course, head on over to Wager Talk. We're going to take a couple quick commercials, and when we come back, we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned.
Jared, hey, we're going to need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
That's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Great way to start and tentatively end the day right here, of course, here with Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at Wager Talk, talking a 10-game NHL slate. ECSI VIPs again, 2-1. Anyone interested? We offered a promo deal on Andrew's channel last Friday. Had a bunch of signups over the weekend. I'm going to throw it back out there as well. If you head on over to EastCoastSportsInvestors.com, top right, plans and pricing, scroll all the way down. You're going to see two numbers there. You're going to see the welcome to the family, your gym membership, $3 a day, $99 a month. All our plays sent to you via text to your cell phone, and of course emailed. Breakdowns as we get to the NFL. The brackets are up. We're going to have some futures, some MVP, Super Bowls, yada yada yada. We're getting closer, obviously, to conference championships and March Madness, and of course someone cutting the nets down in the first Monday of April. 2 weeks after that, the Masters. 2 weeks after that, the Kentucky Derby. My point is, then it's going to be NHL playoffs. And so what we did here, very simply, you see the $375 retail monthly price, and that's the same price that we put up January 1st, 2015. Yes, we're on our 10-year anniversary of public service. And it was so popular over the weekend, I'm going to throw it back out there. Click that button, $375. You're not going to get charged that every month. What you are going to get for that 1 month price is you're going to get the rest of the NFL playoffs, the Super Bowl, of course, the Final Four in college football. You're going to get all our college basketball plays through the conference championships, through March Madness. 2017, we set the world on fire. We set a record that will never be duplicated. 30-2 in the conference championships and the March Madness tournament there. But we're not going to stop there. We're then going to take you to baseball through April. We're going to take you to the Masters. We're going to take you to the Kentucky Derby. We're going to take you through May. We're going to take you through the NHL playoffs and Stanley Cup. So for 1 month of retail, $375, you are going to get from today all the way through till the Cup and the NHL is over. And of course, we'll be sprinkling in NBA playoffs, and you'll get close to the NBA finals there. So you can't beat it. 1 month retail takes you all the way through the Stanley Cup. That's all our plays. That's all our futures. That's everything. So head on over to EastCoastSportsInvestors.com. Plans and pricing, scroll all the way down. Hit that $375, and you are all the way good to go. VIP style, as we like to say, through the Stanley Cup playoffs there. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can obviously send me a direct message on Twitter at EC Sports Invest, or send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. Can't thank you all enough. Great show. Have a great blessed day, and we will see you soon.